they were like, did you go to the Eras tour? And I just go, yeah, I did. And they were like, yeah, we went in Lisbon and we went in London. And I was like, yeah, I went in London too.
I wish they'd have been like, who's your support? And you'd have been able to say,
Me.
Hi guys!
And welcome back to Twinhood with me, Maisie Features, and
Me, Ellen Peters.
Yay! Yippee! Yay! Well, guys, we have really firmly hit winter this week, I feel.
Winter is coming, as they'd say on Game of Thrones.
Which is relevant because, guys, I've just started Game of Thrones. I think I might be the last girl in the whole wide world. But tell me why I watched 2.5 episodes on the weekend. And then I went out for dinner with my boyfriend and we both just sat there in silence. And I went to him, all I can think about is Game of Thrones. I don't know what else to talk about. And he was like, same. Like, we both just sat there thinking about it.
I've watched the whole thing before, and Maisie being Maisie has just like seen lots of like Game of Thrones lore on like Twitter, like TikTok, XYZ.
I know things, but I don't know how they happen or why they happen. So, but I do know a few things. And obviously also Maisie Williams for like my whole entire life has been I've constantly been mistaken for, called Maisie Williams instead of Maisie Peters. Do you know when I did the Eras tour, the Eras account tweeted being like, we're so happy to have Maisie Williams Peters at the Eras tour. And I was like, guys, love you till the end of time. That is not my name, but it can be my name if you want it to be. So yeah, I feel like crazy to see Maisie Williams in action because yeah, that queen has been my doppelganger my whole life.
And you know, guys, it's big news because for a while I had Maisie in the clutch of my hands every 9 p.m. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Sunday with Married at First Sight UK. And oh my God, I love MAFS. Love.
You love MAFS. And I kind of would dip my toe in the MAFS water every once in a while.
But like, I was genuinely thinking, like we're thinking before like we started, like what should we talk about in like what we've done this week? And all I really am living for at the moment is MAFS at 9 p.m. Like the way I will literally just like, that just gets me through the day. And also my water flosser I've just bought. So, you know, obviously post-hygienist.
Do we know?
I was in a bit of a funk. I was like, okay, I need to gamify my flossing to like make it fun. To make it fun because I'm going to have to do this for the rest of my life. It really hit today as well. I was like, I have to do flossing and I have to exercise for the rest of my life. So I bought this water flosser and watched me be hyperfixated about it and never use it again after.
And the way it's massive and it takes up half our bathroom shelf. And the other night I was in bed, I didn't tell you this. It makes quite a loud noise. Are you aware of this?
I'm free.
Yeah. And so I was in bed like kind of falling asleep and I go, oh, what was that? And then my boyfriend goes, I think it's Ellen's water flosser. Why does it sound like a chainsaw?
Because I got back from my night out and I water flossed at like 1 a.m.
Me waking up in the pitch black thinking there's a man with a chainsaw. No, it's just Ellen with her water flosser.
Yeah, it's quite vicious.
Queen, I'm not going to lie. You talking about your water flosser. If this was me talking about my water flosser, you tell me I was being a bit boring. But obviously it's interesting when you say it.
Yeah, obviously.
Yeah, obviously.
God.
Maybe we are a bit boring.
Speaking of boring, how many times did you go leave this flat this weekend?
Listen, justice for the girls that like to stay in. I'm staying in. Am I going out? Nonsense. Although on Saturday night, Ellen bullied me about not going out. So
They were like, should we watch TV? I knew they weren't like, to be fair, you were more up for it. It's your like, your boyfriend and his friend just didn't want to go. I was like, no, come on, guys. We're only in our 20s once.
I know. They wanted to play Mario Kart, and I said, no. So we went to our local pub, and it was me, my boyfriend, and his best friend. And we were all hanging out together. We sat on a table outside a pub, like when there's other people on the table. Mm-hmm. And so you're like, oh, do you mind if we sit here? And then we just got chatting to the people next to us. And it was 2 Australian queens and this guy. This is going to be so funny if you're this man watching this podcast. Good luck to you, King. Because he was just kind of being a bit of a prick. Like the conversation started, this is actually so classic, because I overheard the 2 queens like yelling at this guy being like, you are wrong. These are the Taylor Swift songs. You've got to listen to State of Grace. And I was like, okay, I'm listening. And they were basically like telling him Taylor Swift songs from each album to listen to, because he was basically saying, Taylor Swift isn't good. Like, she can't write music. Duh, duh, duh. And so these queens were like making a case. And so I overheard this and I was like, let me get involved. So I was like, wait, has anyone said Sad, Beautiful, Tragic yet? So then I kind of got involved, and then the boys got involved. And then this man was going, oh, Taylor Swift can't sing. Like, she can't dance. Duh, 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 duh. And I went, wow, it's so crazy though that like Taylor Swift's made $1 billion from her dancing and you don't dance and you've made no money. And he was like, whoa, 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 whoa. And then he was like, have you guys heard, we're like, what's your favorite music? And he was like, well, have you guys heard of the Beatles shut Sgt. Pepper? And we were like, this is heinous. But anyway, he left. And then the queen that was with him was like, we're going to break up. I was like, love you. And then she was like, oh, we're going to have a big fight. And then he comes back and she's like, shut up. Oh, we're going to have a big fight. And I was like, love this woman. But then the girls were like asking me questions, like all of us questions and stuff, and they were really friendly. And they were like, did you go to the Eras tour? And I just go, yeah, I did. And they were like, yeah, we went in Lisbon and we went in London. And I was like, yeah, I went in London too. And then I just felt too awkward being like, I was on the Eras tour, so I just said nothing.
I wish they'd have been like, who's your support? And you'd have been able to say, me.
I know. I thought about doing it, but then I was like, oh, I just feel like we're kind of vibing here. Like, don't want to be seeing me like I'm sort of
don't want to make the hang weird.
Don't want to make the hang weird by dropping the Eras tour bomb on the social function.
I don't really know where you go from there after.
Yeah, I know. It was sort of like that would have just been the whole thing.
Yeah.
But they were so nice. And
also, you know, like they were low-key beefing, and then you said apparently they'd only been together for how long?
Oh yeah, and then we were like, how long have you guys been together? And she was like 3 weeks. And I went, oh, well, maybe they're still together. You know, like, good luck to this queen.
But thing is, he kind of sounds like the kind of guy that has a podcast. You know, that wanky podcast guy.
Yeah, I'm sure he does. Maybe we can have podcast beef with him if he's got a podcast too. Twinhood versus this man.
We can do like a diss battle.
Yeah.
Diss track.
If you're out there, King from the Prince Albert, whatever the pub was, we're coming for you. But yeah, those two queens were great. So if you're out there, we love you.
I bet he's never watched an episode of Glee.
Oh God, no. I bet he's never watched an episode of two women talking about anything.
So true.
So true. Anyway, sorry, King. And yeah, that was my Saturday excursion. So we were so glad we went to the pub. We left and we were like, well, that was iconic.
Speaking of winter, what is gone on the back burner?
The exercise. It's fallen right off.
Maisie literally watched me cancel my class pass today.
It felt like a revolutionary act.
I was just like, I'm just gonna cancel it because it's when I'm like walking home, like it's always like a walking home kind of thing that I think about, and I'm always like, why the F do I have a class pass that I never use? You know, I love, this is so hyperfixation coded. One rebel, have I been in about 2 months? No,
and it was the love of her life.
Have I been to F45 in the last 3 months?
I thought you booked an F45 class.
And then I cancelled it.
And you know what? We don't need to speak on that.
I booked an F45 and I was going to go with my manager on the Friday afternoon, which was already quite wishful thinking.
Yeah.
And then it was Thursday. You know, office drinks came about. And then I was like, hang on a minute. I don't have to go. And then I did a big speech in the office that absolutely no one asked for. I was like, I'm young. I'm 25. I should be allowed to go and have fun. I don't need to go tomorrow. Like, I need to embrace the fun.
Youth.
I need to embrace my youth.
Thursday night drinks.
Yeah. And this is going to lead us on very nicely into our conversation later. But I was just like, you know, I have free will and I'm cancelling it. And I cancelled it and I said, sorry.
Using your free will to cancel your F45 as God intended.
And then I was like, let me take one step further. I'm going to cancel the whole app. It got to the point I was looking on a class pass for like facials. And I was like, oh, no.
I don't know if this is the intended use.
No. Pretty nails.
Yeah.
Eyelashes.
No.
But thank God we've still got the PT.
Yeah, that's our last straw in this game.
Yeah, she keeps us going.
She does. We can never lose her.
That was like another thing I was thinking of today. I don't know if you guys saw my Instagram takeover today. I just had a bit of a moment where I was like, I've got to floss for the rest of my life. I've got to exercise for the rest of my life. And then that was also, it got to lunch and I just had a large Toblerone. I was like, is this my 20s? Just me and a Toblerone?
Well, It's not a bad way to go. Why do I feel like me and Ellen were watching Peep Show the other day and I had a thought where I was like, oh my God, I am Mark. And you are Jez. And why is that such a Peep Show thing to say? Is this my 20s just me and a large Toblerone Mark?
Literally. And I'm so the kind that would start a life coaching.
Yeah. Like a scam life coaching.
Oh, that's too good. But yeah, and then I saw the drying racks.
And that was pushed you right over the edge.
And you know what, I do have to say, like, we do run quite a progressive household in the flat. Like, my boyfriend does a large amount of the washing because I do all the cooking. And I just looked at the washing racks. I was like, fucking hell, winter is here. 2 washing racks. 2. They take up so much room as well.
Oh.
I genuinely could write a novel about fucking mundaneness of washing and just it never ends. Why have we not made it? Like, why can't... Like, you're a pop star and you still have to have 2 washing racks.
Even pop stars have to have washing racks sometimes, Queen.
I need to know if, like... Dua Lipa.
Yeah, I don't
Does
think...
she have 2
Maybe
washing
she's
racks?
got one of those washing racks that have, like, the heated blanket around it to dry it quicker.
Well, Queen, I do think that, you know, we could maybe afford a heated rack.
I think we maybe could push to that this year. I think the budget might stretch. I think so. I know, well, some people have, like, properly good dryers, but this is London, like...
This is quite boring.
This is very
exactly,
boring.
this is what winter does to us.
It makes us very boring. Remember in summer when you were, like, going places?
I know.
God, remember that?
Yeah.
Oh, well.
Twin cousins, would you have 2 dishwashers?
Again, on boring episode of Twinhood, would you have 2 dishwashers?
One where we get boring.
Yeah.
So, cousins, this is an episode where we're going to get deep.
Deep.
You know, we like to have one of these deep episodes, you know, once every 3 episodes. And considering the last episode we talked about my smear test, I think it's probably time to...
I mean, that was deep in its own way. You could say.
It's a very normal level of deep, I have you know. You know, as we were talking about, you know, whether you were going to go out to the pub or not, I thought it'd be a good time to kind of... Let's check in about our mid-20s. And, you know, one of the themes that is quite close to my heart, which I'm going to be honest with you, cousins, I still struggle with, is just the whole wellness trends that is like the clean girl, the like yoga, the Pilates, the matcha, the staying in to read.
Protect your peace trend.
Yeah, the protect your peace trend, whilst also trying to, you know, mother freaking live. And socialize and drink, and because that is a part of your 20s, like especially for me, like my friends do like the pub, and you know, we live in the UK, the pub is life. I think there was a stat where it's like more Brits go to the pub than to church, so I find it quite difficult because it's like if I go out and have a good time, I'm just constantly thinking like, ooh, like should I be doing this, like, and you know what, I always hate having a hangover. I don't get drunk, but like even like a hangover, because I'm like, I know, because Maisie never really drinks, and it's like, imagine feeling shit and you just see like Maisie off to go to the shop to get a little drink of coffee or a little walk around the bookshops, and you're just feeling like an ogre. So it's like I'm constantly trying to like still live in the moment, because I love, you know, we need connection as 20-somethings. We need, like, that is good for us. That's human nature, to, like, connect with people and have fun and talk and, like, socialize in the real world. But then it's also like, oh, but I am trying to protect my peace. So it's just like a battle.
I feel like you're saying it's you finding the balance is kind of important but kind of hard, and then feeling guilty for not having the perfect balance that people online seem to have.
Yeah.
Yeah. Whereas I've almost got a similar but opposite experience, because as you said, like I don't really drink very much, and I haven't really done for the last few years, because I'd say it started when I was touring a lot. Like I would lose my voice a lot as well, and I had vocal issues and like medically, and I would lose my voice a lot, and alcohol's like the worst for that. So I kind of stopped drinking when I was touring a lot, like on the Ed tour and stuff. And then I kind of like never really like started back up in a serious way again after that. And also because I was touring up until like a year ago constantly, I was always kind of having a big night like maybe twice a year or like 3 times a year. Like I don't really drink casually. So, and basically just sort of just wasn't really intentional, but it just kept going and going. And then I realized that I hate being hungover. I just hate it so much. And I get really sick. Like, I know some people's hangovers are kind of okay, but I just feel so nauseous and I can't do anything. And I also do lose my voice, which is obviously very stressful for me. And it's also almost more like mental health wise. I get really anxious about the hangover because I'm like, I'm going to have to work, or I'm going to have to sing, and then what if I can't sing? And then blah, 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 blah. So it kind of is like probably an anxiety thing as well. But then similarly, like, so I don't really drink that much anymore, but then I can also feel kind of insecure or worried, being like, this is meant to be the prime of my life. Like, am I having enough fun? Like, am I going out enough? Like, I live in London. Should I not be utilizing London more and like not just being in my flat all the time? And again, I think it is a lot of social media making you feel like, you know, you're meant to be having a brat summer, but you're also meant to be protecting your peace. But you're meant to be saving your money, but you're also meant to be having a Kesha night every single night. And it's like,
it's so hard. Like, should we be brat? Should we not be brat? And like, I am brat to a lot of people, but then I have like some friends that are even more brat. So like, it doesn't matter how brat you are.
The sliding scale of brat is never ending, and there's always someone more brat than you.
Once in a blue moon, I do have a brat night where I'm like out till 5 a.m., like sleep most of the rest of the next day. And then I'm like, I know when I do it in the aftermath, I'm like, okay, you had fun. Remember, you had fun.
Yeah, it was worth it. You had fun.
And I did have fun. And I think it's like, I really have to tell myself when I'm like hungover, I'm like, you had fun. Like, this is okay. Like, it's okay to be hungover once in a blue moon.
You know, I also actually could do with remembering that a bit more. Like, when I was last hungover, I remember thinking, to be fair, there's a difference between like a deathly hangover and like being a bit hungover.
Yeah.
And I've been known to get a deathly hangover. But when I had like a small hangover the other day, I was like, you know what? I'm okay. Have you seen that meme that's like, girl, that's going to be okay?
Gonna be okay.
That was me. I was like, maybe I'll be okay. So it's good to remember sometimes, like, I definitely catastrophize.
And also, I saw Charlie XCX respond to a comment, which is like, I wonder what Charlie XCX does on a Sunday. And she was like, girl, like, I'm just staying in, sleeping, because she's had a big Saturday. And like, well, Charlie XCX is having a hangover.
So are we.
So are we. God, I went to, on Saturday, I went to this bar, which had really, really loud music. And it's just like, I think since really coming into my own neurodivergent self and really discovering things about myself, like, that is my worst nightmare. Like, not being able to like chat, like having a chat at the pub is so different to like booming music. And then I think like start overthinking, and then, you know, when you have to shout in people's ears and you're getting too close and their breath is on you and your breath is, and then you're like, eye contact. I think this is a very ADHD thing, but I'm like, I don't know where to look because I'm talking so long. When do you end the conversation as well? What if I'm bored? Because I do get bored with quite a lot of people. And then I'm like, I don't know how to get out of this, but I kind of have to. And then it's like, how do I get away without sounding rude? And it's just like, oh my God. I must have looked like a freak to all these people.
Well, I wonder as well, like, it'd be interesting to look back at when you were in your party girl era, like at uni especially, and you obviously were like undiagnosed neurodivergent. Like, I wonder if as well you were like maybe such a party girl to sort of subconsciously sort of avoid some of these issues. You know what I mean? Like, all the overstimulation, like you were just drinking or doing whatever it was to sort of not actually be in.
Maybe it's like a release.
Yeah, I wonder if you're finding social situations or like especially like big groups of people with loud music.
I used to be able, but I don't get it because I used to be able to do it so much easier then than now.
Yeah, but I'm saying you were maybe drinking more back then to just sort of mask and to sort of be like finding a way through it.
Yeah, so much masking.
So maybe nowadays, like, you're sort of like finding your balance and how partying works for you nowadays. Like, now being someone that's like diagnosed and understands their ADHD, like, probably lots of those party situations, like, you love the pub, I feel like, because it's a good level of
like Kat Burns on the
noise.
Traitors said recently, she said she really needs like really like detailed chats, really like deep chats. That's what she said. She likes really deep chats. I was like, that's so me, because I'm not very good at like the small talk and the surface level things. Like, that's not me. That's when I put my boyfriend, I just shove him there and I'm like, you do
off
that.
You go. He loves those.
He loves small talk.
Who loves small talk?
Honestly, he's a crazy man because
he like actually enjoys it, doesn't he?
Thrives off of small talk. And I'm just sat there like, And then I'll just like go on my phone and he's like, Ellen, I'm like, sorry, I can't help it. I just find a lot of people quite boring.
And that's your God-given right.
To round it off, I just think that it's a shame. Like, do people still go clubbing? Like, I wouldn't go clubbing now, but like, I'm so glad I did go clubbing. I love clubbing so much that I went and worked at a club. That's how much I adored clubbing.
You adored.
You know, do people still adore clubbing?
I remember for our 18th birthday, Ellen, we both went with all of our friends to, was it Shoosh?
Shoosh in Brighton.
On Brighton seafront, to the foam party.
Oh my God. See, we loved a foam party. I just think, is this new generation going to foam parties?
What was in the foam? What was in that foam?
But like, it's like, I think this generation should be, you know, bratting it up occasionally.
I think they are.
We shouldn't just like live behind our phones.
It's so true.
But yes, if you're watching the podcast.
Yeah, but also live behind your phone 1 hour a week. No, 2 hours. One to listen to the audio and one to watch the YouTube.
Yeah, obviously.
That's the only phone time you should need, cousins.
So producer Paul has actually just come over with some clutch advice because I don't even know how. And he said that, you know, life is already hard. Like, life is hard.
I feel like we've said that before. Life is hard enough.
Well, it is hard. It just is hard. And he was like, you know, it's like we're constantly fighting a current. You know, each week it's always like, oh, I should have gone to the gym more. Or, oh, I should have ate healthier. Even today I was like, Maisie, I bought us loads of lentils for next week because we need to start eating healthier. Like, there's just always something you need to do more of or less of or like...
differently.
Yeah. And he's like, Paul said, instead of, you know, fighting the current, just let the current take you.
That is great advice from producer Paul.
And you know what? Going out on a Friday is not going to kill you. And like... You know, apart from maybe like your top 5 worst hangovers of all time, which like you do remember, but like all the mini ones, like I don't even remember them. You remember the good times, not the hangovers, apart from a couple.
Yeah, I would say that my advice would be, because I guess we've sort of got two different things here. You're sort of talking about wanting to
embrace the fun.
Embrace the fun and embrace the mess of it, maybe.
Yeah, the beautiful, beautiful mess.
And I guess I was talking about sort of feeling insecure in like how I actually want to spend my time, not feeling like I'm not having enough fun that I should be having. And I would say this is honestly one of the main slogans that I say in my life, and like all of my friends and everybody knows this is like the number one slogan. It is chase your bliss. Chase your bliss. Like, if your bliss is going to be going out in that moment, you're thinking, I actually would love to go to the pub and have 6 pints, then chase that bliss. Do what feels good in the moment. And if I'm like, you know what, I would love to stay in and make a flapjack and watch Game of Thrones, I'm going to chase that bliss too. And I feel like maybe kind of similarly sort of would go with the current. Like, I think it's good to trust your intuition and not think too much about all of these smaller choices, because you're right, like life is long and we don't remember all these micro choices we make.
Also, we also grow out of things. Like, would I be going to a club nowadays? No. So like back then when I was like, oh, should I go? I'm like, yeah, you should go, because one day you might not want to do that thing.
So true.
So like just grab it whilst it's there.
Do what feels right in the moment.
Also, it's so another thing which is slightly in the middle. Like sometimes I really think I want to go to something. I get there and I'm just not having that fun a time. And I think if you're not having fun, you can just go home.
So true. If you're not having fun, you can just go home. Twinhood.
And I think we've touched on this before, but like an Uber home is priceless in my mind. Like past 10 p.m., you know, it's also like being a girl in London and safety, but also just like, you know, take me home. Like, yeah, I'm going home. It could be £40 plus. And I'm like, yeah.
It's imaginary money.
Take me home.
It's Monopoly. You know, there's like all those memes of girls in like New York taxi cabs. He's like, where to? And she's like, home.
No, but genuinely, like the peace you feel. I've never sat in a London Uber at night thinking, oh, take me back.
Yeah.
Take me back. I'm like, take me home.
Country roads.
Honestly, and seeing our front door.
Blissful.
Nothing
quite like it. Guys, cousins, it's actually so cute. I feel like I can't, when Ellen's out and she's not come back before like I've gone to sleep, I feel like I can't sleep right, and I wake up in the middle of the night to check her find my iPhone just to make sure she got home okay.
Green, my new sign of life is the water flosser.
So true. I hear that, flosser. I know my baby's back.
So next up, I wanted to talk to you about like our relationship around makeup and fashion trends, you know, we do live in a consumerism world.
I love that, Ellen. So let's think. I guess those are two different areas. I'd say in terms of fashion trends, obviously we've spoken about this before, but I am definitely somebody who tries as hard as possible to not sort of give in to the sort of consumerist like micro trend world. I feel like when you're younger, it's very easy to see something on Pinterest or TikTok and be like, oh my God, I must get that. But I feel like, you know, as I get older, you really prioritize spending more money on things that are of like better quality and are going to last you. And I guess, yeah, we are in a climate crisis. And I do feel like I think about that more and more as I get older. And you think about, you know, buying things that are sustainable, buying things that are going to last you for a longer time. Like if that's shoes, jackets, jumpers especially. So I feel like I'm getting more and more conscious of that every year. And so, I mean, obviously I've been wearing nonstop all this year and last year. This is actually, I wore this in the first podcast episode we did, which is kind of cute. So yeah, I would say I've definitely gotten better and better at that as I've gotten older. I would say, do you feel similarly? I think you're the same.
If I can't buy it on Hackney High Street, I'm not buying it. Genuinely, I really don't online shop anymore. I think it's partly to do with like, I know with my ADHD I won't do the returns. So like I've probably got hundreds of pounds just sat in like wasted returns because like the process is too much. And also like I do think like, you know, online shopping is on one of my things I can't do because I get to, it's almost like a drug for me. It's like,
yeah, Ellen it's actually kind of interesting. You used to be so almost addicted to online shopping and shopping in general and clothes and makeup. And now I feel like you hit like 23, 24 and you really leveled out. And now I'd argue actually, we always say like there are never clothes deliveries coming to this house.
No, never. Like, I think there's maybe been one in the past 6 months.
Yeah, there's homeware and there's Tesco food shop.
It got so bad that I had to put a literal huge sign in my room saying, do not online shop. Like, it was a genuine sign I had to have up because I got so addicted.
That was crazy.
But yeah, I'd say maybe with like, maybe I'm going on a slightly different topic, but like to do with clothes and makeup. And like, this is deep for me, but I genuinely, like with my hair, like you guys know, like I can't, like I have my like wavy hair and like I try and do like natural makeup and like I don't fake tan anymore. I used to be big in my fake tan, as that one hater on my Instagram likes to tell me every single post I do. She comments, I see you. But I genuinely don't. It's so cringe to say, yeah. But I genuinely don't believe I am pretty without those things. Like, I genuinely don't believe I'm very pretty with my wavy hair or, like, my pale skin. Like, I'm not really that... I used to be the fittest... Like, me at 21, I'm like, those were the golden days. And I used to feel gorge. I just don't feel very gorge anymore. And I know people comment saying I'm gorge, but I just don't feel it.
Oh, queen.
I know, it's kind of sad. I genuinely, and like, you know, growing up, like, I feel like, not just my mum, I'm sure a lot of other women, but they would constantly look in the mirror and be like, like, not happy with this, not happy with this. And I never wanted to be that person because I was always quite confident. And now I just think, like, I look at myself and think frumpy. Like, I had to stop. Like, I actually had to start wearing my hair straight because I was just like, this, I just don't feel pretty.
Which is crazy, Queen, because, like, when you were having your curly hair era, I feel like I'd always be talking to mutual friends of ours or people and they'd be like, Ellen's hair is so amazing. Like, it looks so good.
Yeah, I do think I'm having, like, a bit of a confidence crisis in my year of 25. Like, I'm just being real with you, cousins. I just don't feel, I feel like I'm worried people think like, oh, she's really gone downhill. Like,
that's so sad. I will say, joining in on the confidence crisis of 25, I recently had to stop doing this, but I was going through my camera roll non-stop and like screenshotting or even just staring at and favoriting pictures of myself from like years before that I thought I looked way better in.
Yeah.
And I was like, I actually have to stop doing this. Like, I don't really see how this is productive. Like, also, we have such a warped vision of ourselves. And I think this is something that being constantly photographed really does remind you in sort of in a good way. Like, how I see myself is sort of, number one, so far away from the reality of how everyone else is seeing me, like literally seeing me. And it's sort of just not it's just not that relevant. I think it's something that I kind of have come to realize from my job, but then it is kind of useful to think about it in a grander way, maybe, that like, you know, I'll do music videos or things like that, and people be like, do you want to see? And I'll be like, you know what? Or like photo shoots. I always say no. I don't want to see the pictures. I don't want to see the videos on set, because to me, it's like, well, you know, this is a piece of art that there are actual, you know, experts involved in making, and we're making something bigger than like how I think my bottom lip looks in that picture. Like, it's actually not relevant to the art that we're making or to who I am and the music that I'm representing and the person that I'm trying to be in this moment. And I think in a way that sort of carried over, even though I do feel like probably similarly also not the most secure I've ever felt in like my body and my face, but also I have this backbone of like, you know what, that is actually just not that interesting. It's the least interesting thing about me.
I think that's where I also struggle, because I think also like with this podcast, like, you know, we don't glam ourselves up. Like, yeah, I'm like,
Put
us
the
getting
blusher
ready
on.
is genuinely like 10 minutes, and like I've got food down this top, and like I've consciously like try and wear less makeup these days, and like I consciously don't fake tan, because I'm just like I should be confident in like the skin I am, and I want everyone else to be, but I just don't feel it.
I know, but there is something good in fake it till you make it. Like, people give that advice, and I do think that's not nothing. Like, just, and I think it's really good that you come, you know, what you're saying, like we film this podcast every week, and every week we're both coming down, you know, like hair's not always perfect, makeup's not always perfect, outfits can be random, and you sit here and we speak, and we are funny, and we're interesting, and we're intelligent.
We're so interesting.
We're so
Listen, okay,
interesting. Let me take out the interesting for this week. But you know, and we just present as we are in our real life, and I think that's a good example to set. Like, I agree with you. I sometimes I look at videos of myself that we've done on the podcast, and I think, oh, my hair was not giving that week, and I think, you know what though, like this is not a grand statement, but our hair isn't always giving every day of the week.
It's not always everything.
Hair sometimes isn't everything. Like, and that's okay, because I think we're both trying not to be cringe, but like we're both trying to be real. That's the point of this podcast, is to be real and authentic.
I think it's good that we're actually embarrassed of how insecure like we both are feeling at the moment. Like, and so this is something to be said, is like I went home the other weekend and I was like to mum, like, and it's like I want to vomit, seeing like I don't feel pretty. It actually makes me want to vomit, because like, ugh, I've got a loving boyfriend, I've got the most amazing friends, like I've got an amazing sister, like I should feel pretty, but I just don't. And she was like, you know what, if putting a bit of makeup on makes you feel good, put a bit of makeup on. Like, I do think makeup has kind of been demonized, and like nothing brought me more joy at the age of 16 doing a full cut crease. Like, you know, like makeup before.
Do you remember baking?
Oh
my
I
God.
loved baking. I loved like the Anastasia Beverly Hills dip brow, and you know, I actually think like makeup, I enjoy it, I find it creative, and I think saying that like makeup's all very much tied to, you know, confidence, which, you know, there is a part that is tied to confidence, because I do feel prettier with makeup on, but then there's also like, it's actually fun for a lot of people, and I think it's quite harmful being like, we shouldn't wear makeup, because it's fun and it makes people happy, and it's just like, why are we demonizing a bit of fucking mascara?
Well, I mean, I don't know if we're demonizing it, but I do think, yeah, I agree. I think there are several trends, and there's definitely been a trend in recent times. Yeah, like the all natural.
It's like, why
clean
am I trying to be
girl
more
look.
natural to impress who?
But it should just be about the relationship you have with the makeup. Like, if it makes you feel good and you enjoy doing it, and it's like a nice part of your day, wearing makeup should be about your relationship to that makeup, not about anyone else.
See, cousins, I think it's just like shows, like I'm still struggling. I don't even know what my relationship is with makeup these days. Like, I don't know. I clearly have a warped relationship with my hair. Like, someone get me a therapist just to talk about my hair.
Oh, you would love that.
And now the cousins are going to think like I'm literally having a crisis whenever I straighten my hair. Like, mental health crisis.
Menti V alert, Ellen
Menti
straight
V
her hair.
She's gone and cried in a bucket. That is genuinely something I did when I was younger. I cried in a bucket. I just screamed. I got so overwhelmed, I just screamed in a bucket. And then I just watched like the YouTube video of like Zoella saying she has anxiety, and I went and like messaged my friends like, guys, I think I have anxiety. I just screamed in a bucket. I
How
don't.
old
There
were
were
you?
so many signs of ADHD. If only we knew.
How old were you?
Like
You must have been
14, 15?
And you screaming into the bucket, like it wouldn't have
13, 14.
You screaming into the bucket, like that wouldn't have dulled the sound. Like it just would have been you would have still been screaming. It's just
Like,
into a Wow. If
I'm screaming in a bucket, you know where I'm mentally at.
Yeah. Straight into her hair and screaming into a bucket. It's not good.
So just to round it,
Just to wrap that one up.
round it off, I do think it kind of, like, 20s are a crazy time. Like, I constantly say, like, I remember when I first turned 20 and I thought, like, this was life, I'm an adult now. And I'm like, fucking hell, 20s are, like, hard. I can't wait for my 30s. Like, I just feel like, even now, I'm like, we're halfway through. And I do feel like there's a lot of things I feel a lot better on. Like, I do feel, you know, I'm happy with my life. But I'm also just like, yeah.
I think everyone says that when you get to 30, lots of things make more sense and you care less about things that don't matter and all those things. So I feel similarly, I'm excited to be at 30 for sure. But I also think if I could give a takeaway, I was just thinking about the conversations we've had. If I give a takeaway, it would be the internet especially and society loves to make you feel like you should be, you know, there's this funny TikTok where a girl's like, you should be clean girl aesthetic, but you also should be brat summer and you should be saving all your money, but you should be going traveling, but you should be buying your first house, but you shouldn't be tied down, you should be living in the moment. And it's actually not realistic that everyone should live the life that they want to live. And not all of those pathways are going to be the pathways that you want. And that's okay. You don't have to tick every single
What if I don't
girl
know
boss
what I
box.
want?
But you're figuring it out. You're learning along the way, queen. And I just think, you know, trust your intuition, trust yourself that you're going to make the choices that are right for you and you're going to end up in the place that you want to be. Because I think most people, you know, in their 50s and 60s would look back at this time and be like, oh my God, you know, I thought it all matters so much. And in reality, like, none of it really mattered in my 20s. Like, it was all just learning and fun. And I think that's nice.
I'm such an overthinker. And I really, like, I feel like I seek validation from others too much. Like, I think that's part of my problem. I'll see someone on TikTok saying, you need to embrace your natural hair. And I'm like, okay, yeah, I will. I'm like,
random woman on TikTok.
I know.
But this is all part of your journey, Ellen, into figuring out what actually matters to you. And it's good. You try the natural hair, you try the straight hair. And if that's a metaphor for Ellen's life, so be it.
I still, like, I always think, like, I want to know exactly what my thing is. Like, I want to have a thing. Like, I want to either have straight hair or curly hair. I don't want to be in between. Because I'm like, I think it makes me look like I don't have like a proper...
I don't know who you are.
I don't know who I am. I was saying to Mum, especially with like my constant hyperfixations, I was like, I feel like I try so many new things and then I lose interest. And I think it doesn't... I've got lots of half-done things in my life and like even my hair feels half-done. I'm just like, I wish I had some things I just stick at and that is me.
But I think that this is the time for half-doing things. Like you're 25. This is the time for experimenting and figuring out what works for you. Like you're so young to be knowing who you are and who you're going to be forever. Like, I know it's more comfortable to want to know that, but actually, this is the time to be uncomfortable to learn these things.
What if I'd have just kept with my rock climbing club? Think of where I could have been.
What if you just kept with Sea Scouts?
It's the fact they offered me a trip to Japan, and I was like, no, sorry, can't be asked for Sea Scouts anymore.
I think we've told the story before, but it gets me every time.
Like...
You were rock climbing before all the trendy people were rock climbing, can I just say? Ellen with her chalk on her hands and her belay. Like, Ellen was there at 11 years old.
You know what was the most me thing ever is I quit when I had to do the overhangs because it got too scary. Like, too hard. I'm off.
Okay, well, on that
it's
note...
like Sylvia Plath bell jar.
I don't think it is. No. What do you think the bell jar's about?
I've never read it, but apparently there's lots of different...
Babe, you don't want to know what happens to Sylvia Plath. To wrap this up, Ellen, I thought I'd read out a few of my favourite comments from last week's or previous episodes. I just thought could be good to share our favourites from the cousins. This week, I've not just got comments, I've also got a couple emails that I wanted to share.
Oh my God.
So, first of all, we've got, this is from Tess. She says, so my family's getting a new puppy, a miniature golden retriever in a few weeks, and the name debate is going strong. Was wondering about your input. We've currently got Marley, Poppy, Georgie, Maisie, and Gracie. Hope you guys can help.
Do we have to pick from them?
No, we can choose whatever. I do think it's a bit savage that you haven't included Ellen in that list. What are you saying for the puppy? You know what I'm going to suggest, seeing as he's been so helpful this episode, I'm going to suggest Paul. Paul after Paul the producer. He deserves a namesake.
That's so good. Speaking of pet names, I was speaking to my colleague at work, and she was like, I had a really hard weekend. My fish died. And I was like, oh, I'm sorry. The pet was called Diesel.
The fish?
Yeah, the fish was called Diesel. And then I made a joke. I don't think it landed. I was like, oh, you should call your new one Unleaded. So maybe call the dog Diesel.
Or Unleaded.
Maybe like Diesel's gonna be reincarnated into this new dog.
Okay, well, that's something, I suppose. Little puppy Diesel, little puppy Paul, or little puppy Unleaded. Those are your options. Okay, another email we got. So it was Halloween recently. Callie Rose said, hello, cousin here. Just wanted to write in to share that for my Uni Trampolining Society social, we had a wig night. The only one I could get for free was a blonde bob with a fringe. I did not shut up about how I was convinced I looked like Maisie. Someone even came up to me and told me I looked like Maisie Peters. It made my night. So just want to inform you of your impact, Queen, and share my excitement. P.S. Just started watching My Life with the Water Boys because of Ellen.
Oh my God.
So a few things there. First of all, obsessed with Uni Trampolining Society.
Yeah,
why is that Twinhood to its core?
Why does that sound like a club I would have done?
Yeah. And then look, we're going to get it up on screen. We're going to send it to producer Paul. But look, this is the Queen.
Oh my gosh. That generally does look.
Yeah, it's not nothing.
It's like circa 2024.
Yeah, I see it big time. And then my third email I'm going to share is my final is from Catherine Walsh. And it was an email and it just says, that PT is working, defined biceps right there. And there's a picture of me from my Before the Bloom shows.
Oh my God.
And thank you so much. And we will definitely be sending that to our PT. We actually have to do that immediately.
Oh my God.
Cousins, those were my favourite emails of the week. But keep emailing, keep commenting. Maybe that'll be the one we read out next week, will be my favourite comments from this episode. So leave it below.
If you have an animal you'd like us to name.
As you can hear, we've got a lot of good ones. So leave us a comment on Spotify or on the YouTube, and we'll be picking from there our favourites for next week.
Yeah. And guys, I feel like you always get to give me the questions. I want to give you the questions.
Queen, you can do it.
But guys, I want them to be funny.
Don't be boring like we were this
Don't be
episode,
boring.
basically.
Don't be boring. Tell you what is kind of boring, but I do just want to, I can't finish the episode without touching upon it.
Uh-huh.
If we talk about the spooky pie.
Oh, it's so boring. Go on then.
Well, we didn't go out for Halloween this year. I wanted to go as pregnant Quinn for Bray, but alas, the timings didn't work for me. And so instead, I was like, okay, we did like a little Halloween inn, and I made a spooky pie. That was all. And I cut out like a ghost and a pumpkin on the pie, and it was a spooky balti pie, like a balti curry. So it was orange, so it was like Halloween. And then I cut up napkins to make them ghosts. So I made ghost napkins. I did apple bobbing on the table.
I actually will insert the video maybe of Ellen's boyfriend doing the apple bobbing, because it was quite a sight.
And everyone had to bob for an apple before they could have their dinner.
Before we could have our spooky pie.
Spooky pie. But my boyfriend was like, Ellen, this dinner's taking forever. And that was me just hand carving the ghost and the pumpkin on the spooky pie.
All day, every day, therapist, mother maid.
That actually reminded me, I played that when he asked me to make the bed. You know, like change the bedding, like put the new bedding on. And I hate that job. I literally hate it. And so I just played
Paris Paloma,
yeah,
Labour. It's my favourite Ellen fact. Sometimes you'll hear them have a little bicker and then you just hear all day, every day, therapist, mother maid. It's my actual favourite.
And then I put on, if that one doesn't work, he does nothing, the boy does nothing. But guys, this doesn't do the bed changes. This, no.
She's so much more than that.
What more do you want than a spooky balti pie?
Literally, she does enough. Ellen, speaking of spooky pie, what are we having for dinner tonight?
We are having, can I just say, I saw a TikTok edit of this and it makes me so happy because I'm like, this is such like a small part of the podcast and right at the end, but people love it. So we are having sweet chili crispy beef with rice and with Chinese cabbage that may or may not be Brussels sprouts. but it's Chinese cabbage, okay?
She's saying that's what she wants because she wants me to eat it, and I don't like Brussels sprouts.
You know, if you eat your Brussels sprouts, you will get a #1 single.
Something feels awry with that logic. Well, cousins, on that note, we've loved hanging out with you as per usual. Make sure you give us a listen, give us a watch, go to all of our socials.
Tell us if you liked us getting deep.
Yeah, tell us if you liked how deep we got today. If you liked getting deep into us.
Do you want us to get deeper?
Queen, I don't know if that's a good idea.
Anywho, maybe we'll be back to our
hijinks
and fun
next week. On that note, cousins,
bye.